Wales. We're probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours short of Canberra, which is where we're heading for the Farmer Rally. It's for tomorrow. So tomorrow will be Tuesday the 10th of September 2024. Today is Monday, and we're going up a bit earlier with the bus there. We're going up to stay at Epic in Canberra, and with a view to participating in what's ever happening tomorrow, Canberra for the Farmers Rally there. We'll be probably taking a bit of a slightly different message. As people know, we talk a lot about the overall big picture stuff, the big plans, and how our four major parties, and particularly the likes of the National Farmers Federation, are not actually in the business of fighting for our farmers. In fact, they're in the business of helping the politicians and the World Economic Forum and the United Nations and the World Health Organization to, in fact, destroy our farmers. And these are my opinions. So what you'll hear today, this commentary is all my opinion. People are free to make their own choice and do their own research and find out, what they think. But this is what my opinions are. And this is based on quite a long, long time in doing this. So first of all, we just wanted to have a bit of a look at what we've got here in Holbrook. We're currently at the site where the HMAS Otway is now. You might think it's a bit odd to find a submarine in the middle of New South Wales, but and to tell you the truth, it really is. But anyway, this is where we're at. This is one of the major tourist attractions here at Holbrook. So I suggest anybody, if you're on the way through to Canberra or you're travelling to Hume, by all means drop in and have a bit of a look at the Otway here. And, it's really quite something to see. It's a fair old length there, and they've got some really nice grounds. They've got some really nice facilities here, cafes and so on, and quite a few bits and pieces of subs. There's a mini sub over the other side there, torpedo there. So it's really quite good. And I'd suggest in a time where our kids through the education system, I can't call it the education system because it's actually more or less a grooming service, actually. But if you want kids to see a bit of what's real, a bit of Australian, come along to Holbrook and have a look at the Otway here. Really terrific to see. And there's a great little town. We've stopped here a number of times. We've done a few lives from Holbrook and always had a really great reception. So I might just move around a little bit here because, as people who are following us will know, we're on our way to Canberra with the Billboard Battalion bus. And as we come around in shot here, people will notice that, would you believe it, there's two things parked here. Number one is the Billboard Battalion bus, and number two is Maury's Freedom truck. And as it turns out, Maury was travelling back up north from Albury, and we decided to catch up here at Holbrook. And Maury's now going to go to the Farmers Rally at Canberra as well. So we thought we'd travel together. And we're getting lots of reactions from people seeing the two vehicles together, which is really quite something to see. We have our mobile billboards, and would you believe it, Maury also has the mobile billboards. So those in the freedom movement will be well aware of Maury and his truck, but also the Billboard Battalion bus. But many in the farming community quite possibly don't know a thing about Maury or his semi, or possibly even the Billboard Battalion bus or the organisation, which is one of the main reasons why we do what we do, is to make people aware of what's happening here. And going up to Canberra, one of the main messages that I will be taking is that the farming community, and not only the farming community, but the entire Australian community, needs to be aware of the things that are going on, and and the fact that the whole deal is part of the big picture. And this is one of the major stumbling blocks that I have with the likes of the National Farmers Federation or the Victorian Farmers Federation, New South Wales, WA, doesn't matter. Where these these organisations are that supposedly represent our farmers. So I expect tomorrow what we'll see is a talk fest with the likes of the National Farmers Federation and others, and also probably a whole host of the coalition politicians who will probably be making speeches about how this is all the Labor Party's fault, how this is all, what were they calling it, the Prime Minister's disaster. You know, this is all about the Labor Party and their thing attacking our sheep and so on. And anyway, it must be school time now, all the kids are starting to want to pass. Anyway, so we hear about Albanese's ban on sheep exports and so on. So I want people to know that if we see coalition politicians standing up there saying that, and we've seen this from WA, the member for O'Connor, different ones talking about Albanese and the Labor Party's attack on the live sheep trade and so on. I want people to understand that this is not just Albanese's or the Labor Party, and we also see the same garbage with regard to the renewable energy infrastructure, you know, the transmission lines, the windmills and all the solar panels, all this other crap. We're hearing the coalition tell us about all this stuff is the Labor Party's. Well, I'm here to tell you that this is not just the Labor Parties and the Greens. This is also being supported by the Liberal Party and the National Party. And the whole thing is that they are all signed up to the global agreements, treaties, different agendas that put them all on the same page in the destruction of Australia. So our farmers have a very, very short window of opportunity to get with the program. And, you know, it's very sad to see, and we were over in Western Australia there a few months ago talking to many of the sheep producers over there and some of the people who are involved with the Keep the Sheep. And it's to their own detriment that they don't know about the politics of this, don't want to know about the politics of it, and, you know, are so easily led by the nose around by the coalition parties. And just it's really quite pathetic to see, because the simple fact is that what we're seeing right now is a result of the collective ignorance, arrogance and apathy of our farming communities. And, you know, I know that's a fairly harsh thing to say, and we might cop a bit of flack from some people, but, you know, bring it on. You know, we're at the end of the line now where this is almost ground zero. It's almost too late to do anything about it. And our farming communities and our farmers need to get very seriously educated very fast. They need to get with the program or they're not going to be in the program. And, you know, as part of the big picture that I talk about, the plans are to wipe out our farms. It's that simple. And all the people who own farms and they think they're doing okay, well, you know, if you think the sheep exports are a big problem, I suggest you think again. If the transmission lines are the biggest problem they've got, you better think again, because it's a million times worse. So this is what Billboard Battalion does, Farmer Wade. We travel all over Australia educating people about this stuff. And, you know, for a long, long time, since 1985, in fact, my family and myself have been doing this, trying to wake up our farmers and let them know about what plans are eventuating, what plans are being put in place. This is 40-odd years ago. And all through my time as a branch president with the Victorian Farmers Federation and the United Dairy Farmers of Victoria, having an organisation that was Southern Basin Communities, and now with Billboard Battalion, since I started that, I constantly am on about the politics of everything. And to their own detriment, everybody, or almost everybody, not only our farmers, but, you know, I talk to a lot of tradies, I talk to a lot of people who work in, you know, they're members of the unions, A lot of cops, ambos, doctors, nurses, farmers, plumbers, just whatever. And the overall majority of people will say, oh, look, I'm not interested in politics. I don't care about politics. The politicians are just liars. They tell you they're going to do one thing, and then when they get elected, they do the exact opposite. So I just don't care anymore. I'm not interested in it. Really? Well, I put it to you that the reason we're in trouble today, the reason why we are dealing with keep the sheep, the reason why we've lost water in the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, the reason why they have windmills, the wind turbines, the solar panels and the transmission lines, all of this stuff, the reason why we're seeing our fruit, our cropping, our dairy industries collapsing all around us is that people have not wanted to know about politics. Because as I've said many times before, the most important single element to your farming career and business by a million miles is politics. The reason why this stuff is happening to us is because that many people are so apathetic, they are lazy, and they don't want to know about politics. Well, you're going to know about it now, because this is why everything's going wrong. The things that are being done, the reason why we're in so much trouble is because this is a global plan. The four major parties, and they make up the governments, whichever ones are in power at whatever time, they are on board with the World Economic Forum. And the World Economic Forum tells us you will own nothing. And then they talk about being happy. So I think when they talk about being happy, people are either so indoctrinated that they're too stupid to know anything different, or they're all zombied up, whether they're drugged up, whether they're that, who knows what, I don't know. I don't know how old Klaus works out people are going to be happy with owning nothing. But when we see what's happening in our education system and our country and the apathy, generally speaking, I'm starting to think that they might be onto something, because people are just being conned and falling for it. They are too weak and too dumb to get with the program. And I know those are pretty harsh words. We may cop a bit of flack from someone, but I don't give a rat's. Because the bottom line is our country's in massive trouble right now. And if we look at our farming sector, right now, our farming sector, if it stood united and together, and it actually understood what the hell's going on, then we could join up and fight as one unit, and we could beat this stuff. Because the entire agricultural sector has the capacity to do that. This is all about information. It's all about education. And people trust our farmers. Our farmers, if we all stood together and took a stand, then we would have this nailed by lunchtime. But we're not seeing that. We're working very hard to try and make that happen. So I call out all the stupid people, the dumb ones, who say it's just a conspiracy theory. Farmer Wade, is just a conspiracy theorist. It's not happening. It's not real. And all the people that say, and I get a lot of this. Oh, I know the minister for such and such, or I know the member for so and so. I know somebody from the Liberal Party or the Nationals, and they said that's not going to happen. It's not real, and they tell us that it's all good and that's all the Labor Party's fault and it's all the Greenies' fault. All this crap. Well, I challenge everybody now to get serious, get with the program, and actually switch on. And to the amount of people who I know who are farming, and they say, oh, look, we haven't got time. We're too busy doing this or too busy doing that. Everybody can be too busy. No problem. But the fact of the matter is you don't need to be too busy, because if you don't do what needs to be done, very, very soon you won't have a farm. Now, those are the facts. Whether you like it or not, those are the facts. I don't care whether you believe it or you don't. I don't care whether you know the politicians who sit there and say to you, this is all rubbish. Farmer Wade doesn't know what he's talking about. I challenge your politicians, the leader of the National Party, the leader of the Libs, Labor and Greens. Let's get them up in the public arena and let's have it out. Let's have these things. I want to know what they think. I want to see what they say to what I'm talking about. They won't do that because what I'm saying is simply correct. You don't have to be overly intelligent or overly smart. You don't have to be some university degree, whatever, just to be able to tell the truth. And we've been doing this for many, many years. What I'm saying is correct. It's that simple. And I don't care whether you believe it or not, this is what's happening. So we have a very short window of opportunity, very small window of opportunity. When they talk about banning the live exports of sheep, the next thing they'll be banning live exports of cattle. Now, we already saw that happen in 2011, and a bunch of parasites in Canberra got together and said, we're going to ban the live exports of northern cattle, and they did it overnight. The whole thing, they collapsed the whole thing overnight. So for people who think that what I'm saying couldn't happen, I suggest, get with the program, get a brain, get real. I spoke to a bloke over in Western Australia there a while ago about, I said they're trying to shut down the sheep industry. And he told me to pull up, Wade, pull up. You're going too far, pulling up. No, mate, no, you need to get with the program. You're already pulled up. And I put it to you. People's lives are in danger here. Our country is in danger. Our kids' future is in danger. So let's hear enough of this crap about pull up and let's see everybody get with the program. Now, we've got people coming to Canberra from Western Australia and all over the joint. That's great. Let's see if they learn anything. Or let's see if they just stand up there and allow the politicians to lead them around like by the nose, lead them around, make them sing and dance, make them roll over, do whatever they want. And then they say they've done a great job. They'll pat each other on the back and off they go. And then they're still going to ban the sheep. They'll ban the sheep exports. And what's going to happen is you'll have the coalition politicians sitting there saying, oh, well, Albanese did this and Albanese did that, and it's the Labor Party policy. No, it's the four major parties' policy. And the reason they can get away with it is because we, the people, we, the Australian people, have let them do it. Now, we've been asleep at the wheel, in fact, almost comatose at the wheel for far too long. It's time to get on the bike. Get with the program. Man up, woman up, whatever the hell, because your family's lives are in extreme danger. And there is no room for excuses. There is no room for stupidity and for ignorance. If you are ignorant, you will lose. Now, they are wiping the floor with us. And that is because people will not fight. They don't want to know about it. They don't want to be educated. Well, the evidence is overwhelming. Look at the World Economic Forum. Look at the United Nations. Look at the World Health Organization. They're planning a new pandemic for us now to wipe out more people. They've got troops who are ready to come in and force these so-called vaccinations. They're not, they're poisons. So, we're hearing the chatter about UN troops can come into Australia and do whatever they want. They can't be touched, complete immunity. The Australian Parliament's given them this. This is what I'm hearing. We'll get confirmation from this, but that all fits. It all fits 100%. And like I've said for a long, long time, the United Nations is not a peacekeeping force. They are an invasion force. And anybody who operates under the United Nations banner, you're operating under the global terrorist organisation. In 1939 to 1945, we saw certain kind of helmets being worn by a bunch in Germany. And they were black. And now the same helmets are blue. They're exactly the same people. They don't have swastikas. They've got a thing called UN. So we better understand where this is going. And this is going very bad. Now, I suggest that everybody gets with the program while there's still an ability to do that. We're seeing changes throughout the world now that are starting to stop people from being able to speak. They're locking people down. People are being arrested just for talking. So you better understand this is that serious. And like I say, if you care about your kids, if you care about their lives, if you care about their grandkids, Do not tell me you love your kids if you're not prepared to get behind us and do what we're doing. If you continue to have your head stuck in the sand, and that's the nicest way I can put it, then don't tell us you love your kids, because you don't. If you're not prepared to fight for their lives, and their lives right now are on the line, it is that simple. We're seeing the education system turning our kids into basket cases. We're seeing people going through the universities come out with an inability to think. They're so indoctrinated with this woke left-wing crap, they have an inability to be rational or logical. And not everybody, of course, that comes out of unis like that, but a hell of a lot of them are. So this is time for Australia to get with the program. Otherwise, you're not going to have an Australia. And everything that our Anzacs fought and died for, we are in the business of throwing it down the toilet. The very people we fought against in World War II, the very Nazis that took over half of Europe in World War II, they are the people we're fighting against right now, or their progeny. They're the same deal. They just changed their name. That's all they did. And with Operation Paperclip, they spread them all over the world. They transplanted them all over the world. So we need to understand this is the battle lines. This is a line in the sand. These are the facts. So let's see what we can do. So Billboard Battalion will be in Canberra tomorrow, and let's see what we can do there. I guarantee you that the people who are running this Canberra thing, the NFF, the politicians, they're not going to want Farmer Wade to be standing on stage with a microphone talking to the crowd. But we'll see what we can do. We'll do our lives from there. We'll see who we can talk to. We'll see if we can do interviews with people. And we'll see if we can do interviews with the people who are running this thing. And we'll see what sort of information we can get out there. We will challenge them, because we are the true people who are fighting for our agricultural industry and for our farmers. They are not. And as I say, Billboard Battalion is the primary agricultural lobby group in Australia, because we are simply the ones who will give you the information that is honest. We shoot straight, we hit hard, we go maximum impact, and that's all there is to it. There's no 80% garbage with us. We'll tell it as it is, and that's all there is to it. Wade Northhausen here for Billboard Battalion. We're in Holbrook, New South Wales. Today is Monday, the 9th of September 2024. Thanks for watching.